Hey everybody, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch on this Wednesday. We're going to take a look at the Colorado weather forecast, which I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. Looks a bit more interesting than yesterday, but then again, yesterday looked, I'll be transparent about it, about as boring as it gets here in the Denver area this time of year. But again, Friday looks kind of interesting, and middle of next week looking increasingly interesting as well. So now that I've said the word interesting 5 times here in about 90 seconds, let's take a look at today, where it will be a little bit blustery this morning here, still holding on to some of those winds in the foothills, getting on up to about 50 degrees for us here in town. And get on up into the foothills, and we are looking at a little bit of light snow up by the Eisenhower Tunnel. It's not a big deal, but that same system could lead to a very, very minimal amount of action here along the plains as we get later on through tonight. Let's start things out, though, by taking a look at those current temperatures. We're generally in the 40s and the 50s along the eastern plains. Still our cold spot up in Weld County for our friends up in Greeley, and then in the mountains, a bluebird day, generally speaking, 20s and 30s, but with a little bit of snow just to the north of I-70, from I-70 on north there along the Eisenhower Tunnel, and from kind of Highway 40 on north. Current temperatures right now around Denver, 45 out at DIA, 47 downtown. And we're going to be looking at, again, those temperatures rising up a few more degrees on top of what we're seeing at this point. 24-hour temperature change, well, it's pretty noticeable up into the mountains. That is mainly due to the fact that we're getting a bit more in the way of some of those winds that's mixing out some of those colder valleys. That colder air, I mention this all the time, colder air is heavier air, so it kind of sinks down to little pools. That's why places like Kremling, Granby, Gunnison tend to be so cold. But once you can get a little bit of wind to mix that out, those temperatures spike up pretty quickly. So that's why Kremling and Gunnison are rising so much here over the last 24 hours. And same for us in Saguache and Alamosa into the San Luis Valley. Again, just getting enough wind to kind of mix things on up a little bit and get rid of that dense, cold air. Highs today, right around 50 degrees for most of us. 49 Broomfield, 48 Golden, 51 Littleton, and 49 smack dab right downtown Denver, and 49 out into Bennett. Now the forecast mentioned we do have a slight chance for an isolated snow shower, maybe some graupel. Let's avoid the real nerdy stuff here. But the point is late tonight we could really we have a very slight chance for seeing a rain or snow shower in Denver. Better chance will be east of town. I would say from Fort Morgan, Lyman line on east, you'll have the better chance at seeing a rain or snow shower. Little or no accumulation everywhere here, folks. The one spot that could see some of that accumulation would be up into the northern mountains. Again, Steamboat Springs. I just checked Steamboat Springs, though. No snow over the last 24 hours there. Same for Winter Park. So this is a very insignificant storm system here, folks. So we're going to kind of skip past this one. And then tomorrow, it's nice. It's sunny with an isolated flurry in the mountains. And then our next system, which looks a little bit more interesting, as I mentioned, arrives somewhere around the rush hour on Friday, and then we'll get a burst of snow that could last until about midnight or so on Saturday morning, and then that clears on out, giving way to a much sunnier and more tranquil weekend before next week could get a bit more action here into the Front Range. All right, so let's take a look at what we could expect from that next system coming up on Friday, because that one at this point looks to be, again, probably the most interesting highlight as we head through the next 5-6 days or so. In the meantime, we'll get that little system tonight, not a big deal at all. Where we do see a rain or snow shower, it will probably not accumulate at all. Then as we get into Friday night, Saturday, the computer forecast models have kind of ticked up a little bit in terms of their forecast snowfall amounts. Denver, I do think we're going to be in line. I was just telling this to my colleague meteorologist Danielle Grant. Happens to be in the same room here. Fun story. We are looking at the possibility. I would say I would go as far as say as we're looking at about 2 to 4 inches here in Denver, based on the current trends that we're seeing. Again, still a lot of things to kind of stamp on out. I would say the main thing is we just don't have a ton of moisture with the system. So if we can get that moisture, we'd certainly be in line for that. Again, possibility for maybe 2 to 4 inches worth of snowfall. So kind of going back here and a little closer look in here, it looks like right now the trends is that this snow may start a little earlier. So maybe somewhere between 3 and 6, that could impact that Friday commute. The other thing is for ski traffic, I think Friday night is going to be pretty nasty getting on up into the foothills. So if you have the option to move that up to Thursday night or Friday morning, I would do that. If not, do what I always do. I always go Saturday morning, even though you have to get up really early to avoid that awful traffic. But in the meantime, again, it does look like that ski traffic on Friday is going to be pretty gnarly with some of that snow as you head west of town, getting out of the city. Close look in here at the front range of what we could possibly expect. This is one computer forecast model, so don't take this verbatim, but it does look like, again, Friday night, Saturday morning, most of the models kind of closer to that 2 to 3, maybe even 4-inch range from that next system. So again, a potentially commute affecting type of storm system. Not going to be nearly as big as the one we saw a week ago when we picked up in Denver. Most of the Denver area saw about 6 to 12 inches from that snowstorm just a week ago. This is not going to be nearly that big, but it is going to be a quick hitter, and it could drop as much as 2 to 4 inches worth of snowfall from that same storm system. So as we take a look at season-to-date snowfall here in Denver, we picked up a little over 21 inches so far this season, and that's officially a DIA at Central Park at the Central Park Station, the old Stapleton Airport station. That number is actually at 25 inches of season-to-date snowfall. That is more than where we were at this time last year, and that is remarkable considering the fact that we did not get any measurable snowfall in Denver until December the 10th, a historically late wait to get that snowfall here into town. And then, of course, the other part of that was we only had 0.3 inches worth of snowfall officially in Denver as of New Year's Eve. So we've seen all this snow really over the last 4 or 5 weeks or so, and that is making a big difference. Meantime, the forecast, kind of a little bit of everything. We got quite a bit in the way of warmer temperatures for us here. Tomorrow we kind of spike back up into the mid-50s. Tomorrow, and then on Friday we cool back down, low 40s with some of that snow in the evening that I was just talking about. And Saturday and Sunday, it's beautiful with highs getting back into the 50s by your Sunday, about 60 degrees for us on your Monday. And then middle of next week, we see a big pattern flip. And it could be a system that produces a few inches of snow for us here in the Denver area next Wednesday. Something we'll have to watch for in the meantime. We are going to be looking at certainly cooler temperatures and, again, probably some accumulating snow here in Denver for the middle of next week. So hopefully that gives you an idea about what to expect as we head over the next few days. I'll have another update coming up at 12:30 as well. So stay with us here on 9 News Watch. And again, I'll have a bit more on that snow and what we could expect for next week in particular coming up at 12:30. In the meantime, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you back here at 12:30.